What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Cherry back again on the video, and today we're just gonna talk about this James Harden and Daryl Morey situation because it's messy. I had another video planned, but I'm still editing that video, so that's gonna take some time. But this is nuts. What Harden is trying to do right now to Daryl Morey. You go like publicly. He just okay. So we all know he requested the trade. Probably, I think a day before free agency started. It was speculated that he was going to do such things, and he did. So we go this back and forth. Oh, James Harden would do anything he can to get out of Philly, and we got Philly saying they do anything they can to keep Harden. If they can't find the proper trade partner, they just would keep him. Okay, so we go into where we at today, and James Harden just completely just ousted Daryl Morey in front of a crowd in China during his China tour, and I'm just like left confused because Daryl Morey has done more good to Harden than bad. Yes, this contract situation, this like handshake deal, is pretty bad. I'm not gonna just say, oh, I'm not just an advocate for just bad business, but this man Daryl Morey has did everything he can or could to accommodate Harden. Like let's start all the way back. Let's start when Daryl Morey actually traded for James Harden to give him the chance to be a superstar. Like we just forgot about that. Daryl Morey literally gave James Harden, who was the sixth man of the year, he saw superstar potential, traded for him, and boom, he gave him the keys to the franchise. So then after that, they felt, okay, let's maximize James Harden. Let's get a big man. Let's get Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard, they had some good years together. They even made the Western Conference Finals. But the relationship was sour because Dwight saw himself as a poster player because he felt like his work with Hakeem was paying off, and then James Harden, he wanted to run the pick and roll lob threat, but Dwight Howard just never embraced being a lob threat. Okay, so their relationship soured. We go into the following season. They signed Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni, we all know about his offense. His offense is like one of the best of all time, especially what he did with Steve Nash, and then he had Carmelo Anthony for a good stint. They had good offense, but yeah, the team wasn't like doing nothing because ultimately Mike D'Antoni barely coached defense, so the ceiling is limited there. So yeah, they bring him on. James Harden had one of his best seasons of his career up until that point. And then a couple of time, he ultimately like wet the bed because I don't know what that was. I think folks said he had like a concussion or something. I don't know what that was in Game 6, and then we go to Game 7 of the Spurs series. I truly do not understand what happened there. But folks just said, okay, this was probably too much of a low in James Harden. This low is unsustainable. Like, get James Harden some help. He gave him Chris Paul. Chris Paul, one of the best point guards of all time. I probably rank him top 10 of all time. He came off a disappointing season with the Clippers, and then he felt like this Clippers situation was maximized, so he requested a trade. And guess what? Houston traded for him. They had great season. They won 65 games, and they could have won the championship if Chris Paul did not hurt his hamstring. Like, that team was probably the best team to ever, let me rephrase that, to not make a finals. Like, the best team ever. It's crazy because that was basically the only team that gave the Warriors trouble during that run. Only team. It could have been the first team to beat the Warriors during this run, but ultimately that was the Lakers this year. So, yeah, we going past that. And we go into the next season, and CP3 is injured most of the season. James Harden had to carry a big load again, and he did a great job that season. He had the best season in his career up until that point. Folks, this is around the same time they were starting the MVP talks, him getting cheated at the MVP once again, and him being the greatest scorer of all time. So, yeah, I don't think he was the greatest scorer of all time. I still don't, and Giannis deserved the MVP. So that's two things out the way. But that don't take away from how great of a season that was for Harden. So yeah, we go into the playoffs. CP3 is showing like signs of age, like regression. So the Rockets, Daryl Morey, they said okay, and then it was they was clashing too. Like CP3 and James Harden relationship was like fractured. So okay, it's fractured. All right. Daryl Morey did what Daryl Morey does. He accommodated Harden, and guess what? He traded for his homeboy since little kids and Russell Westbrook. So we go into that. Russell Westbrook was having a slow start in 1920. Like that season was like it was destined to be bad. So we go in mid-season. They try to find ways to fit Russ in the offense. So they traded Clint Capella, and that was like one of the worst decisions they could have made because after that, like they were just prone to getting like mismatch hunt the entire half of the season into the playoffs. So yeah, Russell Westbrook, he had a great stretch ever since they traded Capella. He had a great stretch, and this was around the same time like James Harden was just like I don't know if he ran out of gas. I don't know what that was about because his turnover though was just skyrocketing during the stretch. I don't know. I truly do not know what happened. Maybe he did run out of gas. I don't know. And then the virus happened, so it was like a long break, a long hiatus. So we go into the bubble. James Harden, look like he revitalized. He ready to get back to work and try to win this championship. He shot 80% at the rim. Well, they ended up getting second round by the Lakers, and they really didn't have a chance outside like game one and maybe game like I'm trying to see like 5. No, not 5. Probably 4. I probably say 4. But yeah, that situation it was done. So we go into the following season, and both Russ and James Harden both have problems with the Rockets ownership group, I believe so, and Russ felt like it was time to move on. So he requested another trade, and Russ got his trade demanded. Well, hold on. Harden requested a trade first, then Russ he followed suit and requested a trade, and his trade actually got followed through on because his trade to the Washington Wizards for John Wall happened before training camp, and this was around the same time James Harden is starting his out of shape business and making sure he forces his way out of Houston. This is the first instance of that. So we go into the training camp. Training camp starting, James Harden up there. He's partying. Matter of fact, this was around the same time they was having mandates for NBA players to, they can't party and do extra stuff outside the facility. So James Harden just went out his way, just party everywhere he was with little baby. He was like having fun, like okay. Now I think it was like around the same time it was a little baby birthday or something. He gave him a present. Okay, so that's that. He upset. He don't want to be there. So when Houston couldn't find a trade for, he ended up playing. He had dropped 40-something his first game back. He had a good, I wouldn't say that situation was the best at that time, but it was good enough. They had Christian Wood, who just came off a 16-point per game season from Detroit, and he signed to Houston. They had agent John Wall. Okay, they had DeMarcus Cousins come off the bench. They still had PJ Tucker on the roster. Eric Gordon was still on the roster. Like the roster was it wasn't the best in that Harden tenure, but it wasn't like this some all out worst team of all time. It wasn't. So James Harden, he just after that game, he was up and down, and then coming up to the trade, it was like he just quit. Like he completely quit on the Houston Rockets, and so Houston Rockets said we can't deal with this no more. We gotta find a trade partner. So they ended up fulfilling his wish because his two teams that was on his list was the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers. So they fulfilled his request and he went to Brooklyn. He went to Brooklyn and he was happy. Now remember that. He was happy that he got to team up with his best friend at the time in KD and one of the most skilled guards of all time in Kyrie Irving. So going to that situation, James Harden, he was so happy to be there. His first game, I believe, was with KD, I believe. I forgot, was it against the Magic or something like that? Yeah, I think it was something like that. Yeah, and then we go into all throughout the season. Him, Kyrie, and KD only played 8 games together, and then I believe Kyrie and James Harden, and then or James Harden, KD, and, or some type of combination ended up playing. All 3 couldn't be on the same court at the same time. So we go into that. We go into the playoffs because at this time they was like a top 35 seed, if I believe. Yeah, they dominated the Celtics without the Celtics without Jaylen Brown, and yeah, and then we go to the Milwaukee Bucks here. This is where the first instance of where his out of shape business costed him because he ended up he was already having hamstring problems during the season because he had to recover from being out of shape to start the season. He had to work his way right back into shape during the season with Houston, then with Brooklyn. So he hurt his hamstring. And then second round, first game, I believe one of the first few possessions of that game, he hurt his hamstring. And that really, that was the second hamstring injury he had got. And we didn't even know at the time, but he ended up playing on a grade 2 hamstring. And you know why he had to play through that? Because Kyrie Irving got his ankles he got undercut by Giannis trying to go for a rebound. Giannis was trying to go for a rebound. Kyrie just laid the ball and he got undercut, turned his ankle real bad. He couldn't play the rest of the series. And so James Harden felt like he needed to do something. So he played through a grade 2 hamstring injury. And guess what? For their efforts, they went to Game 7. I give them that. But they ultimately lost. James Harden didn't have no juice. No, I'm not trashing him for that. He was clearly hurt, and he shouldn't have been on the court in the first place. I'm not trashing him for that. But what followed after that was big time drama. So KD, he re-signed with the Nets for a 4-year deal or something like that. James Harden and Kyrie, they haven't signed their deals yet because they wanted to wait and try to maximize the potential money they was gonna earn. So yeah, in the New York mandate, they if you don't have the shot, well, you can't play home games. And so folks thought Kyrie was gonna be able to play road games. Nope, the Nets automatically shut that down. Then it was just more drama ahead. So we go into the season. James Harden, he had to carry the load. KD once again got hurt. So it was just James Harden by himself until around January, I believe, until they feel like, oh yeah, we can't do this no more. We need to give James Harden some help because this is not Houston James Harden. So Kyrie came back. Him and James Harden, they was playing together for a little while. Then I don't know what happened with the Kyrie situation again. I believe it was like a bunch of home games coming up or something like that, or it just they I know for one thing they was on a losing streak around this time, and it was just looking like this need to end. And James Harden once again he pulled this stunt of him not trying on offense or defense again. I remember I saw a loose ball. James Harden just decided not to pick it up because it was going to be a backcourt violation since he lost it on his own accord. But he didn't even pick it up. He just ran over, walked as soon as he got close to it, and listen, Deep Bay picked it up and dunked it. So him quitting, like, this has been a trend for a while. He's if he feel unhappy, he just quits. So go into that. He got his trade demand again. He requested another trade. So he went to the second team that was on his list, Philly. So in Philly, guess who's over there? Daryl Morey. He back with his old friend. So Daryl Morey and James Harden, they reunite. James Harden said Philly was his first destination choice over Brooklyn, even though that's not true. So he said that. And James Harden, you know, they brought him along slowly. James Harden, he was still recovering from those injuries, right? The hamstring injuries. They brought him along slow. So when he did touch the court, him and B had a great run together for a little while. Then James Harden just showed signs of regression. So we go into the playoffs. Like, they dominated the Raptors. Even though the Raptors took them to 6, it was like no match. But in this series, like during the last stretch of Game 6, Embiid gets elbowed in the eye and has another orbital fracture. So what that means is he gonna have to miss some time. James Harden had to step up against the Miami Heat and try, show something like that. He's the star player. He's still a star level player, like superstar, a low superstar tier player. Nope. James Harden looked bad. They had the corpse of DeAndre Jordan starting, which was wild. They had Paul Reed, but I guess they didn't believe him at the time. So yeah, they get ousted in 5 or 6 to Miami. Okay. So we go into this latest season in 22-23. This is supposed to be a championship or bust year for the Philadelphia 76ers. Well, I was about to say Houston Rockets because look at the offseason they had. They picked up P.J. Tucker. P.J. Tucker left Miami. I know it's hindsight, but Miami Heat was better suited to win a championship. Okay. Because just the Eastern Conference Finals. So they picked up P.J. Tucker. They picked up Danuel House, another former Houston Rocket, another boy of James Harden. Okay. They also signed Montrezl Harrell. And folks thought he was going to be a good addition. They benched him right away. Like Paul Reed took his minutes. They traded for DeAnthony Melton for Danny Green. Like nobody gave him credit for that. Danny Green was hurt. And he was on like a 1-year deal. Like he signed the 2 years, like 2 years remaining. So they got rid of him. Trade for DeAnthony Melton, who was also a good addition. They still had Matisse Thybulle. Doc Rivers decided not to play him. They still had George Niang from the previous season. They still had Tyrese Maxey. I know Shake Milton didn't play, but he was still an alright third string guard. So yeah, they had the roster, Tucker Pete and they still had Tobias Harris. Folks, just say he's not good because of his contract. I believe he's still an alright player, but it's because most of his contract. But yeah, he's not there. So this is supposed to be championship or bust year. Okay, we go into the season. James Harden had an all-star, all-NBA type season. 20 to 21 points per game and 11 assists. Probably one of the top 3 assist men in the league. Okay. And as a matter of fact, I think he was the best assist man in the league. So, okay. With James Harden, he's showing signs that he still got it. Like, those injuries was in the past. But, yeah. And also, James Harden, let's not forget about this. He took a pay cut to get these boys and P.J. Tucker and Danuel House. So we don't forget about that. Okay, we go into the season. Danuel House looked washed. He looked done. P.J. Tucker, he was all right, I guess, for his team for the Sixers. Not James. Well, I already told you about James. Sorry. So Joel Embiid, he finally broke through and won the MVP. Okay, that's good. Sixers was a top 4 team in the East. This is their time to shine. Okay, so we go into the playoffs. And James Harden looked washed, like completely washed. Like his field goal percentage in the restricted area was around the low 30s to high 20s. Like, dog, what are we doing here, dog? He could not. He got to the rim a little bit, and then when he got there, he couldn't even finish the race because he had no lift no more, none. And James Harden was like, even when Embiid got hurt, he was like the third, fourth. No matter of fact, he was the fourth best player during the first round of that series. Fourth. Now, folks are going to say that's disrespectful. No, what's disrespectful is his performance in that Nets series. So, we go into the second round. Jordan B going to have to miss some time again because he ended up hurting his knee on like a dunk attempt or something like that. I forgot what it was, but I think he hyperextended pretty bad. So, James Harden had to do the same thing again. He had to put the team on his back and see where it goes. Yeah, 45-point game. This was an outstanding game. All-time great performance. Nobody expected this from this version of James Harden. He did a great job. So we go into the next game. And B comes back. He's back to what he did in the next series. And then after that game, he's still putting up numbers what he did in the next series. And I believe until like game 4, I believe it was game 4 or 5. I forgot which one it was. No, it was game 5. Wait. So it started in Boston, 3 and 4. It was definitely a Sixers home game. I think it was game 4. So game 4, he also had another outstanding game. All-time great performance at 42 points, even hit the clutch 3 to win the game. Great. But the following game, he does nothing. Then early in the game 6. Oh, my bad. Matter of fact, I think it was game 6 actually, because the Celtics, they ended up like blowing them out in game 7 because guess what? James Harden and Joel Embiid both quit on the team. Like right down the stretch of game 6, they had a chance to still win the game. I think it was like a 5-point game. Nope. They just quit with 1:20 remaining on the clock. They just quit. They just gave up. So we go into game 7. They had a puncher's chance. They still had a chance to win. They took the Celtics, who was just in the finals a year ago, to a game 7. And they both looked pathetic. Both. So Joel Embiid, he did his usual thing, blame his teammate, even though Tobias Harris looked way better than him. And I believe Tyrese Maxey also looked better than him and James Harden. But, yeah, Joel Embiid blamed his teammates. All right, whatever. So we're going to the offseason. James Harden is suspecting this handshake deal from Daryl Morey. Okay, and this is where we at now. The Sixers just ended up not offering him anything, which I believe is wild. Like, you don't offer anything to James Harden? Okay, that's wild. But the fact that James Harden opted in his deal, and I believe they agreed to look for a trade. Sixers not getting the return packages they thought they was going to get. But they got to realize that James Harden is an aging star player who don't have the burst he once had. He's definitely not the same athlete. Definitely not. Everything is like step back threes, but he's still a great passer. Nobody takes that away from him. But yeah, I don't know what the Sixers thought they was going to get. So yeah, he requested a trade. The trade still haven't been done. It's like mid-August right now. So yeah, this is coming up the training camp, so the report's going to be even more aggressive. But this morning, James Harden, he was on his China tour. Yeah, answered some questions and basically just ousted Daryl Morey for no reason. For no reason. You keep for something you just keep to yourself and between the front office and yourself. Bro, That was like disappointing. I can't believe folks still defend this dude. He quits his way out of situations. He about to find a way to quit this situation because they can just void his like deal and prevent him from going to any any other situation, because this new CBA they making sure these players is not just controlling everything. So okay. So yeah, in my opinion, this is bogus. This is whack. This is trash. Over one disagreement, I understand it's a big disagreement, but one disagreement of all the things I just listed between him and Daryl Morey, this is how he like does. Like, you can be mad. I'm not saying he can't be mad. He can be as frustrated as he needs to be behind closed doors. Being this public about it, it's just like this. Okay, this how you gonna be? All right, fine. And to be honest, if he do go to the Clippers, that's another ball handler that's going to stop the ball. Like, his off-ball shooting has got way better, but his movement still is like atrocious. Kawhi Leonard, he don't move off ball as much. Paul George, of all these players, out of James Harden and Kawhi, he's mostly the one that be moving off ball the most. So yeah, I don't know how this is going to go. If the trade go through, and I believe PJ Tucker is going along with him, but yeah, if this trade does go through, this is another second round exit, my man. Like, I don't see this situation getting any better for James Harden and his quest to win a championship. I truly don't.